Welcome back to the Maydena Mountain Podcast. We're here for a very special episode today, coming live to you from the Maydena Bike Park. It's day 2 for us here in the bike park, last day of our Tasmanian Mountain Bike Expedition. And you're about to hear a beautiful, beautiful chat I had with the legends, Mark and Brendan, here at Tailored Trails. Before we do that, we're going to hear from a couple of our awesome guests to give you a bit of an insight into what the Tasmanian Mountain Bike Experience has been all about. Okay, I've got my friend Thomas here. Thomas
How's it going?
is from one of the other mountain bike meccas of the world, coming from Wanaka, New Zealand. Thomas, what's been one of your favourite trails so far?
It's a really tough one to answer that because they've all been so good. But I have quite enjoyed Derby. It's terrain that I haven't really ridden anywhere else before. So all the stuff in Derby is pretty good, but the Blue Tier and Bay of Fires would be right up there.
Fantastic, mate. I'd have to agree with you there. What's been one of the biggest things you've learnt on this trip? I know we've been mixing in a little bit of coaching at each destination along the way.
Just going right back to basics. It's sort of, riding over the years and not having any proper coaching experience before, I've developed a few bad habits. So it's been good to iron them out and, run things back to basics and smoothen stuff out. And, overall, I think it's worked really well.
Fantastic, mate. Well, I'm excited to keep putting some of that into practice out here today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, next up, we've got John here.
Hi,
John's
good morning, Jake.
coming to us from the UK,
Absolutely.
originally from Scotland.
Yeah, absolutely.
John, what's been one of your favourite trails so far?
I think I share some of the thoughts of Thomas before. I loved Bay of Fires. Bay of Fires is just tremendous. Some of the jump lines here in Medina are just spectacular as well because they're really nice and progressive. You can land really easy, but you can give you a little bit of pop off the top. So I really enjoyed that as well. It's really steep here, so you get plenty of speed coming into the corners. Fabulous, fabulous place.
Fantastic, John. Next up in the crew here, we've got Bronson, fellow Australian, coming to us from Newcastle. Bronson, you're actually a motocross coach. Kind of newer to mountain biking.
Yeah.
Kind of first big mountain bike trip. What's been one of your favourite things so far?
Oh, definitely loving the mountain biking for starters. I'm very, very new to it. Only just got a bike very recently and not much time on the wheels before coming here. But it's been phenomenal having so many days in a row to just continually progress the skills and confidence and abilities and that. Lots of carryover and transfer from the motocross over to the mountain biking, which does help, but it is definitely very much a beast in and of itself. Still lots of learnings going on at the moment. Surprising myself with how much I can actually really send into stuff, and the bike holds up better than I expect it to. It's been a phenomenal experience and learning so much off you as well. The little quick whips of riding behind me and try this and instantly better. So I would say I'm almost night and day compared to when I come in here on day 1 to now 100%.
So cool, man. It's been freaking awesome watching your progression over this last 10 days. And I think we went from 0 when we're getting into some green and some blue trails on the first day there in Derby. We rode your first double black trail here in the Maydena Bike Park in the pouring rain yesterday. Pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. No, that was awesome.
Amazing, mate. Well, thanks for the words.
Thank you.
We'll get out there and get some more. Okay, we've got Euan here, originally from Scotland, joining us on this trip from his home base in Whistler, BC. Euan, what's been your favourite thing about the Tasmanian mountain bike experience so far?
It's a good question, Jake. I like the variety. There's definitely a lot of variety of trails. Love being in forests, different forests, and the group that we're riding with, a lot of fun. So a lot of fun on the bike, a lot of fun off the bike.
Good trails, good people.
Yeah.
Hard to beat, hey? I'm curious, you've obviously spent a lot of time in the Whistler Bike Park, on the trails in the valley around Whistler. What's been the biggest difference to the riding down here in Tassie compared to your home trails?
Yeah, it's a good question. Obviously it's a bit smaller, a bit lower key, so you're shuttling up in a van rather than a chair lift. I think, the fundamentals are essentially the same. steep, there's rocks, there's trails, there's berms. It's a lot of fun. I think what I said to you before was it's weird. It's the same but different because the fauna, the flora, it's all different. A lot of fun. It's also for us. It's been very quiet, hasn't it? There's not been a lot of people at all on the trail. So yeah, it's been a really fun experience.
Yeah, I think we pretty much had the whole Maydena Bike Park to ourselves yesterday, which was Friday. A few more folks here today, but for a busy day, it's really not that busy, is it?
It's interesting because the guys, basically they were telling us that it's capped at 160 people for Maydena, which is obviously if you're a whistler, you're not familiar with the concept of a cap, so it's pretty interesting in that regard too.
Yeah, fantastic. And one last question for you. We've been working on some skills throughout this trip. What's been the biggest thing that's stuck with you or that's been helping on the trails out here so far?
Yeah, I think like we discussed before, can be just riding, practice. I think the biggest thing is around some of the mental things we're talking about. So it's just helping centre the focus to apply the skills you've learned. So I think, as we discussed yesterday, that concept of exhaling just before we're about to go on a feature like a berm just helps me set up my sort of routine going in and out, particularly with the braking zones and stuff like that. So yeah, that's worked really well. But just riding in a whole load of variety of terrains and variety of weathers has really helped progress my mountain biking.
Fantastic, Euan. Thank you so much. Now it's time to catch the first shuttle up and get into one big last day of riding here in Tasmania. Welcome back to the Maydena Mountain Podcast. I'm stoked. Today we're here for a special episode down here in Maydena in Tasmania on the back end of our Tasmania Mountain Bike Experience. I'm here with Mark and Brendan from Tailored Trails, the local guiding, logistics, mountain bike experience experts, and we're here to talk mountain biking in Tasmania. Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, thanks, mate. It's great to be here. Thanks for coming to Tassie.
Hey, man. It's been an absolute blast so far. We've had 4 days in Derby, 3 days out on the rugged west coast, real mix of weather. Now we're here in Maydena for endless bike park laps. Can't get enough of it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Why don't we start here by just telling us a little bit about you guys, maybe how you got into mountain biking and how Tailored Trails came to be here in Tassie.
Yeah, for sure. I'll kick off. Yeah, been mountain biking for give or take 20 years, give or take. And moved to Tassie about 10 years ago. Long story short behind Tailored Trails was I had a group of mates come down from Queensland, where I'm originally from. Early days in Derby, this was about 9 years ago, 8.5 years ago. Did a trip to Derby and fell in love with the place. Just some of the best riding that I had ever done in Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere, to be honest. Did the trip, whole bunch of mates, and on the last night of the trip, we're sitting around the campfire and thought, hey, this is a pretty good business idea, isn't it? We need to do more of this. And at the time, there wasn't really anyone else doing it. So, yeah, 2 years later, sort of bit the bullet and started the business. And our primary offering is just basically just all-inclusive and full-service tours around Tasmania. So our business is based out of Derby, you would say. We're sort of out of the north of the state, but we are one of the only operators that go around all of the state and are licensed to operate on all of the big networks around Tassie. Tassie is just a mecca. Like, we are so blessed with phenomenal trails and so much diversity. Down here you've got Blue Derby, Premium Flow, amazing trails, good fun, great in any weather. You got the wild, rugged West Coast, which you got to experience in its full glory the day before yesterday. And here we are at Maydena, which is just all about just good fun, gravity, technical descending, fast, flowy stuff. It's just amazing. So we are incredibly lucky. We've been doing it for about 7 years. We're coming up on 7 years in January. So we're pretty well experienced at this. We know the places to go. And yeah, we just love having the chance to show people around this state. It's it's an absolute blessing.
Unreal. It's so cool to hear from dreaming around a campfire to here doing this full time.
Yeah.
Unreal. All good things happen around a campfire. We're sitting in front of the fire right now.
It's when you make good decisions.
Yeah, exactly right. Brendo, tell us a little bit about you. We've been having lots of fantastic conversations in the van. You've got a wealth of experience in the outdoors. But what first sparked your interest in mountain biking and then coming here to join Mark at Tailored Trails?
Long story. Started mountain biking when I started out in BMX. like a lot of kids. Started in BMX, wanted to get into racing, got into a lot of dirt jumping. Didn't have a great racing scene around me at the time. Got into dirt jumping, and then some mates dragged me along on a mountain bike ride. I did the first ever mountain bike ride on the mega classic Otford to Glenbrook, the Oaks Fire Trail up in the Blue Mountains. Did that on a BMX bike as my first ever mountain bike experience.
Wow.
That was wild. And then really humble beginnings of borrowing my brother's bikes, riding anything we could. And just borrowed those until I broke them and fixed them. And then, really found a love for it through the back end of high school. When I first left high school, I got a job. I lived off my first paycheck for a month. And I told my boss to hang on to my next 3 paychecks.
Yeah, well.
And then I took the next 3 paychecks straight to Phantom Cycles in Tarmore. If you're out there, Kerry, I appreciate you. And that was it. Mountain biking became a thing. I dropped my next 3 paychecks at the bike shop, and that was it. I was hooked ever since. So, it's just been a journey ever since. Travelled around a lot. Lived in Scotland. Lived in Morocco. Doing a lot of riding around all sorts of places, and then came to Derby in 2019, and absolutely fell in love with it. And it was a life-changing experience. I ended up packing up and moving down here, and met Mark in Derby, and bought into the company, and now we're running the show together, taking people to not only all the big spots, the Derbys, the West Coast, the Maydenas, but some of the little in-between joints that you've got to experience with Penguin, places like St Helens is a real little gem. Lots of those little in-between joints that really make some of these tours pretty magic.
Totally. I love that. It's not just like 3 destinations to go mountain biking in Tassie. There's a wealth, isn't there? And I'm just starting to understand just how much is down here. And even, I guess on my first day, I flew in a day early to get over the jet lag, and Mark was already saying, hey, while you're in Launceston, there's actually some trails right there you can pedal to from the CBD. And I was straight out there. It was fantastic. So I think I haven't rode a bad trail down here yet. But I'm curious, you guys have obviously travelled around the world, riding bikes, adventuring. Why Tassie? What was it about Tassie that grabbed your heart and really made you want to make a life here?
The trails are magic. There's no doubt in that. The first time I rode in Tassie, or first time I rode in Derby, was actually off the back of a trip to Whistler, Squamish, Pemberton, Moab, and Virgin.
Some big names there.
And then came back and rode Tassie only a couple of weeks off the back of that trip, and was still blown away by it. And I thought, well, there's something in this. If I've had that benchmark set by those incredible destination trails, and I'm still falling in love with Tassie, there's something. It must be special. It must be real. And then just the lifestyle here is amazing. It's got everything that we could want. You can still buy fruit from a unmanned roadside stall. You don't get that in a lot of places these days. And so it's got a lot of that honesty and a bit of that sort of quaint, old-timey, sort of like stepping back in time in some respects, some regards. But then it's really progressive and modern and amazing as well. I don't know, what was it for you, Mark?
Yeah, for me, I suppose 2-prong approach, but first and foremost, the lifestyle and just the people down here. We sort of ended up here by chance through a different career offering, and didn't expect to live in Tassie, to be quite honest, but pretty early on I was like, oh, this place is pretty special. Tassie's always had a bit of a stigma about it amongst Australians, particularly Australians based out of the northern end of the country like myself. I think there's a few furphies that people have been saying about Tassie just to keep it a little hidden secret for the last 30 or 40 years, because this place is amazing. Yeah, so for me as a young dad with a young family, like lifestyle is paramount here. It's just incredible. There's a certain like authenticity about this state and about the people and about the food and about the coffee and about the wine and the culture, and it's a really beautiful area. From a riding perspective, like it's next level. Like it is genuinely world class across the state. We are really, really lucky. But I suppose the thing that really attracts me to the riding is just the fact that you are genuinely in mountain bike towns. The difference between riding here and some big destinations in Australia and a little bit internationally as well is you've got these huge tourism towns that kind of have a trail network tacked onto the side that might be a 10 or 15 minutes drive away. Whereas where we are now, we're about to jump on our bikes and pedal 350 metres, and we're going to chuck it on a shuttle, and we're going to go up to 1,120 metres and then do an 800 metre drop.
And then we're going to do it again and again and again, right?
And again, and again. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I love about these towns down here is I don't have to stick my bike on a car and drive to the trailhead. I literally roll out of the garage, and I'm at the trails, and that's pretty hard to come by. So Derby and Maydena, even Queenstown, like all those places you can ride from your accommodation. So you don't need rental cars down here. You don't need all the hassles of having all that other kerfuffle that goes along with it. It's tricky to travel down here, which is kind of what our business is based around because there's not a lot of infrastructure. It's a little bit hard to get around the area. But once you're in the towns and you're there to ride your bike. And there's a really cool feeling when there's more bikes doing wheelies up and down the main street than there is cars in the main street. That's what I love about it. You sort of feel like you're amongst your people.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, both of you. From what I've experienced so far this week anyway, it's felt easy to travel Tassie. You know, a lot of the time we're leaving our bikes outside, we're not worried about them getting stolen. We're riding them to and from the trails. Like you say, there's an abundance of fresh, cheap, local food, drink. Everything's easy. Thanks to you guys. You've kind of fill in the gaps and the things that would usually be really hard logistically, the guiding, the transfers, the booking accommodation, the knowing where to eat, the list goes on. You guys are really making that easy for us. And I really liked one of your shuttle drivers in Derby, Caleb. He said, I'm not only living the dream, I'm a dream enabler. And I really see that in you guys as well,
Classic
right?
Caleb.
Yeah. You're living your dream, you're riding bikes for a living, but you're also enabling all of us to come from all around the world. You know, we've got people from New Zealand, Australia, Scotland, Whistler, the UK, all coming here, living their dream, riding bikes in Tassie, thanks to you guys.
Yeah, pleasure. Yeah.
So it kind of begs the question, I'm sure there's people out there thinking, yeah, I'd like to go to Tassie, but I want to do it on the cheap. So yeah, I wanted to ask the obvious question that probably a lot of the dirtbag mountain bikers out there are thinking, why not just do it yourself?
Yeah, good question, Jake. We are both dirtbag mountain bikers at heart, 100% every day of the
You
week.
and I both.
So we're here. And I think I learnt that firsthand about 9 years ago when my mates came down. There's a bunch of us that all flew down from the Sunshine Coast. Rented cars, drove out to Derby. I think we split across about 3 or 4 dual cabs to get the bikes in. Got out to Derby, jumped on the shuttles, booked accommodation, went out, had dinner, found somewhere to eat. Like, did all the usual things, but it was just really bloody hard. Like, we were forever splitting costs and how much do you owe me and how much does he owe for accommodation and did he buy the groceries or whatever the case might be. And that's where the whole premise of the business came about, was like, how do you get this genuinely incredible world-class riding experience without all the hassles and kerfuffles along the way? We just want someone to come down and have a good trip that's really easy, that's fairly priced so that we can make money out of it and feed our families. But then also, we want them to come back next year. The thing that I love more than anything about this is 2/3 of our calendar every single year is repeat visitation, to the point where we've got people out of 7 years of operation are on their 6th trip. We had a crew down in September that were here in March, and then they came back in September. Shout out to you boys in Sydney. So that's really the thing we love about it. You get to know people quite well, to the point now when I go back to Queensland, I actually catch up with people that have been on trips with us. Brendo goes back to Sydney, he catches up with people that he's met down here as well. It's really exciting. So the difference between doing it yourself and the difference between doing it with us is not a financial thing, it's actually just a simplicity thing. I think we make it fairly easy, and that's kind of the premise of our business and our goal. And we want people to love it so much that you come back again next year.
And that speaks for itself, doesn't it? That you've got 2/3 of your business is repeat business. And that you've got customers that you actually want to go and hang out with outside of work, people that
Yeah.
you now call mates. I think that's really, really special.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very blessed.
Yeah, fantastic. And kind of shifting gears here a little bit, obviously you guys are running around the state running tours like this from all season down here, but you're also running races. Tell us a little bit about the Tasmanian Gravity Series.
Yeah, that came about as a happy accident.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, we wanted to get behind the Tas Gravity Enduro Series. I've been racing a long time, and I've finally convinced Mark that an enduro was a great way to get out and ride. And so we got out, we did it, and then we said, okay, well, let's get behind the series, let's support it, let's throw some money behind it and get behind it. And strangely, that coincided with one of the organisers of the series also stepping away from the series. So we got in touch with the other guy that was half of the organising team and just said, oh, look, Doug, what's going on with the series? Is it going to happen this year? He said, oh, I'd love it to happen, but I can't do it on my own. And so we sort of ummed and ahed and we waited and okay, what are we going to do? And then maybe over a few too many wines one night, we decided perhaps we should ask Doug what it's going to take. Are we the right people to start running it? We had a meeting, we had a couple of coffees, and next thing it was on. We were on, so we ended up having to start a separate business. It's called Tas Gravity Events. We run that with Doug Miller, who started the series 11 years ago now. So he started that, and yeah, we're a part of that. We just couldn't have Tassie not have a series, a race series. It's an incredible riding destination. There are so many good riders down here, a real hotbed. We've got some incredible talent coming out of Tassie. We needed to foster that, but then also just that community of riders that a race series fosters. We couldn't see that go to waste. So yeah, took it on, and yeah, as we sort of watched riders come up through, it took us, we've been doing it 4 years now. This is our fourth season.
Yeah, well.
And huge shout out to Lacey Adams, who has come up through our series and went on to take the under-19s Enduro World Series overall this year. So she's come home with the World Cup overall after coming up through our series.
It's unreal when you can see that direct result of taking on that series and providing this platform for riders to come up through here.
Yeah, I thought it might take 10 years and maybe we'd see something come of it, but for that to happen so quickly and is amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it kind of, for me, it touches on a bigger subject, which is kind of like purpose and our purpose here working in the industry. We had a great chat in the van the other day kind of about how taking on this race series specifically has given you more purpose. And, obviously we can talk about the riders that are coming through the series and getting onto the podium and that kind of thing. But even on a bigger level, talking about the kids that wouldn't have anything to do on the weekend if they didn't have an enduro to go and race, or they didn't have bikes to go and train on. And I think it's really cool kind of getting a look around Tassie. It seems like the state as a whole is kind of shifting from the primary industries, the logging, the old mining towns and stuff like that. And without things like mountain biking, tourism, there'd be nothing for the kids to do, nowhere for the people to work. So I think it's really cool to see people like you stepping up and kind of filling those gaps, even though it's a lot of work for you guys and it's pretty hectic, right?
Oh, it's hectic. It's a lot of work, but it definitely gives a lot back, and it gives a lot to these rural towns.
Yeah.
We're in Derby is a town of 106 people. Maydena's probably got 200 or 300. Derby's an ex-mining town. Queenstown, where we were, ex-mining town, still has a little bit of mining in that area. Maydena, where we are, ex-forestry town. There's still forestry going on, but there used to be big forestry works right here, and that's shut down. And the bike park has become a big employer for the area. But apart from that, just brings huge amounts of money to the area. And that happens through tourism, but the races are actually a form of tourism themselves. We actually made the decision a few seasons ago to release the courses. Traditionally, in an enduro race, you release the course maybe the Tuesday or Wednesday in the run-up to the Saturday, Sunday race. We decided to release it 2 weeks out. And that gave people, number one, gave people the opportunity to practice, but also it gives the towns an opportunity to actually host people over 3 consecutive weekends. So people can actually, we'll see people. The first year that we did that, there was a group, the Tas Gravity Girls, which is a not-for-profit that runs down here in Tassie, a women's riding crew. They organised a trip out to Queenstown 2 weeks before the race so that they could get out there and practice 2 weeks before. Then they did some coaching and training and group riding, focusing on the skills that they would need the weekend before the race. They did that at home, and then they went out and raced the following week.
That's so great. For me, it really speaks to kind of taking the pressure off and making enduro racing more approachable for newer riders, and kind of setting riders up for success. I think it's great.
And that's what we want to do.
Yeah, there's no reason to make it harder than it needs to be, or to put more pressure on just for the sake of adding pressure. At the end of the day, I think most riders start riding because it's fun. They start racing because it's fun. So I love that you're thinking about, you're not kind of rigid and this is how enduro races work. You're like, well, how's our enduro race want to work? How do we want it to work?
Yeah, it's an amazing community. I think that it gives a lot of people a really great excuse to get out. Maybe, groups of friends who perhaps wouldn't make time to get together and ride somewhere unusual, especially if they live far apart. But they meet through our series, and then they put that time aside because that race becomes the purpose and a really good excuse to get out there and do it.
Yeah, that's unreal. And I love kind of touching on the coaching point a little bit there. We've been working with a group of mere mortals, myself included, not so much enduro races this week, but we've been doing a bunch of coaching as well. Not only, guiding the riders from around the world on the trails here in Tassie, but also getting them up to speed and ensuring that they can really, live the full experience of mountain biking in Tassie and perhaps ride the trails that they've been watching on YouTube and kind of, ride to their full potential. So touching on a whole bunch of different skills, but obviously you guys see riders all season long coming from all around the world. I'm really curious, what's maybe like the 1 or 2 skills or things you find yourself teaching riders the most that are coming here, landing in Tassie and needing a little tune-up?
I find a lot, it depends on where they come from. So there's an area just north of Sydney. Sydney is a big sandstone bowl, and there's an area just north of Sydney where there's an incredible amount of trail being built. It's very rocky, it's very technical. Their building materials are sandstone or sand. So jank, rocky, gnarly stuff they've got. Berms, not so much. So you put them on some of the hardest, most technical trails that we've got, and they eat them for breakfast. Put them on the even the easier, flowier trails, and they make a ham sandwich of it. Not all, but some.
Yeah. And is it the speed?
It's speed, it's cornering technique, it's certain things. They just want a little brush up. Whereas people who perhaps live in areas where there's a lot more flowy, bermy flow trail, they might need to learn how to bend their elbows a bit better through rocks or loosen up through some jank. So, it depends. You've seen something similar?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's really interesting this far into it. You can tell by talking to someone on the phone before they come down from a trip. You can got to kind of get a sense of what kind of their rider they're going to be based on where they ride. And we're pretty fortunate that between Brad and I, we've ridden the whole entire east coast of Australia, most of South Australia, and little bits around WA. So we understand Sydney, Southeast Queensland, Adelaide trails really well. And the riders are almost a little bit taught by the terrain that is on their backyard. So yeah, you've answered that and hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I'd say like the biggest thing that we're always kind of talking about a little bit is just general body position. Like our biggest market is kind of 35 to 55 year olds. You know, that's kind of the market that travel with their bike, and we get a lot of empty nesters, we get a lot of young families, we get a lot of big families that might be mum and dad and 4 kids that do a trip with us, which is just amazingly good fun for us as well. But the most beneficial thing that we see, and it's kind of something that we're trying to foster in the mountain bike industry in Tasmania a little bit, is when you come down here, just get a little brush up lesson. It's amazing. Spend 4 hours with this guy on the trails on day one, and it will change your riding for the next 4 days. And it's a bit of a foreign concept in the mountain biking industry. In Australia so much, it might be a little bit different in your neck of the woods, but we find when people go to Perisher or Hotham or Thredbo and do a 5-day ski trip, more often than not, they'll get a little coaching lesson on day one, and that's kind of the norm. It's amazing if you can do that when you come to Derby and spend 4 hours just brushing your skills up. You get so much more out of the next 3 to 4 days. So that's something we've been working pretty hard on for the last 3 years, and we're slowly starting to find that now with a lot of our repeat guys, it's almost like a, hey, lock in that day one, half day on the trails, just as a regular thing, year round. And it's incredibly beneficial. Our goal is that you come down, you have a bloody good time, and you really enjoy your trip, but you also go home a more confident, more inspired rider.
Totally, and it's definitely what we've seen on this trip, isn't it? Having coaching not only from you guys, from myself as well, and not only on that first day, but each new place we go. And it's not necessarily always a traditional coaching lesson where we're in a skills park and we're spending 4 hours hiking up and down one corner. But each time as we go, there's questions popping up and there's people getting it. There's GoPro footage being reviewed each night. It's really cool just seeing how the riders grow, just from those little tidbits of information and feedback they're getting along the way.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, it's been a pretty advanced group we've had this week. Strong intermediate advanced riders. We've been riding a mix of kind of, dark blue or stout blue, as Brendan likes to say. Some black diamond trails, a little bit of double black in there as well. And each one of these riders has really stepped it up. If they came in as a blue rider, they're now riding black trails, and it's been so cool to see. And I can't even remember what day it is, but I think today's day 9 or something like that. We've pretty much rode every day there. But yeah, like you said, it's not always the shiny skills on top of our skills pyramid. Quite often the riders that have got or what they've needed the most has been just a brush up on the foundations. Yeah. And we've really seen that huge leap forward because of that.
Yeah.
I also kind of found what you're saying there interesting. I see that as well a lot, in the sense that perhaps the riders over in Canada that are used to going to Whistler and getting ski lessons are a lot more ready to come and get a bike lesson. It makes sense, right? If you get taught to ski, you should get taught to bike. I see a little bit of this where I'm from in Australia as well. We've got maybe more of that kind of farming DIY background of I know how to ride a bike. I've been riding bikes for years. I was one of those guys up until my early 20s when I got my first lesson and kind of realised how much I didn't know. But yeah, like you said, get a lesson. It'll pay dividends. It'll be the cheapest investment you ever make in your bike when we compare it to what we spend on a modern mountain bike these days.
It's a pretty great. It's a pretty great souvenir to take home.
Totally.
With some skills.
Much better than the bark off the elbows. It's the alternative, right?
That's it. It will look after that, and a bit like what you said, we've got such an incredible array of different terrain here, and the terrain teaches you how to ride, and because we've got such an amazing terrain, variance of terrain, we've got some fun steep stuff in Derby, but Maydena's got incredible steeps. If you want to learn very big steeps, we've got it here. If you want to learn how to ride looser, sort of less packed dirt, we've got heaps of that in Queenstown. If you want to learn how to ride rock, there's just so many different types of it here. So it's such a playground for learning and coaching and teaching. Totally. It's pretty amazing.
Paradise, eh? You said something really cool the other day. You mentioned that some riders that live in a place with less elevation will come here to a place like Maydena and do a year's worth of descending in 3 days.
Yeah. We get a crew down. They come down at least once a year. They're down from Alice Springs, And yeah, Alice Springs pretty flat.
Yeah.
And it astonishes me how good these lads are at descending, considering how little of it they've got and how hard they've got to work for it. But yeah, they might do 300 metres of descending in a week.
Yeah, well,
If they get out on the bike twice a week, they might get 300 metres of descent in. We're going to do 800 metres a lap here. We'll get 6 laps in today.
it's mind-boggling, isn't
It's
it?
a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So
Unreal.
yeah,
I'm
it's
getting
been
excited looking out the window here. I know we had, 20 mil rain forecast today. It's currently not raining.
No.
We're in for a treat.
Looking good.
Yeah, I think it's going to clear. And even if it does rain, Maydena loves a bit of rain.
Yeah.
Everywhere that we've ridden, you've seen it rain in all the spots.
Yeah.
Which is a bit unseasonal.
We've also seen
November.
at least a patch of sunshine in all the spots.
Yeah.
I think like Derby was it was a treat for me coming from cold, dark Canada that's about to start snowing to Derby because it was blue skies every day. It was nice, warm weather, but also not too warm to pedal. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
So I think, we've been really lucky with the weather. It's kind of that springtime hero dirt, isn't it?
It is.
Just enough rain to keep the trails tacky, but not so much that they're muddy. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess too, that's where having a local guide helps out. There are trails, there are areas that handle the rain better, and I'm sure that's everywhere. We can kind of point in the right direction and go, hey, look, it's really hosing down. There are trails, 23 stitches at Derby doesn't love the rain.
No.
But Kingswall, perfect. And that's hard to see. Trail Forks doesn't tell you that.
That's for sure.
Having a bit of a guide, having a local help definitely helps that, and that pays dividends.
That's what's been really cool for me and the crew. Obviously, I came down here with all these ideas of what I wanted to coach these guys. I had a chat with each of them on the phone, taking all their information beforehand, kind of checking in. But I didn't know where to take them to actually teach that. So it's been really cool collaborating with you guys. I mean, like, hey, where are the best corners for teaching trail breaking today? And it's just stuff we wouldn't be able to do without you guys, and it wouldn't be as easy. I think like a lot of my audience and a lot of the people watching, they're growth focused or progression focused mountain bikers. They want to get better, they want to get the most out of this sport. And I love the idea of bringing people somewhere different because like you're saying, when we're not only getting used to the same type of dirt or the same sandstone rock that's at home, we're getting to ride 3 very different places in 11 days. And I'm curious to hear your perspective. Like, how does traveling the world on a mountain bike make you a better rider?
I guess the easiest way to put it is if you're going to ride dirt, if I'm coaching somebody in certain skills, in Derby you learn how to maintain speed and to generate speed because it's a little bit more of a trail park, and in Maydena you learn how to manage it.
Nice, yeah.
And that's in a nutshell. By going to different places like that, you get a totally different skill set. That's not to say Derby's flat and Maydena's mental and crazy steep. There's plenty of spots in Derby where you're really managing your speed, but on a whole, you get a lot out of Derby if you can pump and you can play and you can hold speed through certain areas. There's a lot there to play with. Maydena, a much steeper hill with, it's definitely got some genuine green trails on it, and they are genuinely green. You can take kids down the hill, but you are learning to manage your braking a lot more here. You're learning to manage that speed, control that speed a little bit more, and that's sort of in a nutshell, breaking down those 2 different spots.
Yep. Becoming a more diverse rider by going into different environments, different types of trails, and learning to ride that terrain.
Yeah, I find with a lot. I don't know if you have seen the same, but we find a lot of people by about lunchtime on day 1, if they've ridden, generally Australians, they'll come to Maydena, and by lunchtime on day 1, they're saying, "Oh, the blues here are a black anywhere else." And then once they get the swing of it, once they learn that it's just steep, not harder. It's just steeper. Once they get the swing of riding steep stuff, by the end of day one and kicking off into day two, they're realizing it. They flick the switch. They go, okay, it's not harder. It's not gnarlier. It's just steeper, and it's a different type of riding. So for a lot of people, Australians generally, our trails are a little bit flatter.
Yep.
And once you get the hang of that steepness, you're off to the races.
I love it. And that just like really speaks to a trip like this, isn't it? Where we can speed up that whole process. And maybe that awkward first day where we're not quite sure and everything feels too hard and it's maybe a bit overwhelming. It's like, come here and learn which trails are the best to ride, learn exactly how to ride them, and really get into that fun zone a lot faster. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of our riders, isn't it? We had some of the guys that perhaps come from a place like, maybe we've got one rider from Wellington here and she preferred the steep tech. We've got others from Whistler that love the jumps. And now we've got this group of riders that love both, because we've filled those gaps and we've taught them how to ride both with confidence and control. That's really cool to see, really rewarding. Wanted to touch a little bit here on mindset. I know that's something I really like to talk about, and it's something we've had a lot of great conversations about with our guests and with each other in the van. We actually did a little bit of a mental skills workshop before we got into the steep and deep on our first day in Maydena yesterday. Brenda, I'll let you kick it off because I know you brought up a really cool strategy that you use and that you coach. Would you share it on the podcast?
Yeah. It's something I've thought about a lot over time, and it was something I really struggled with. A lot of people work with visualization. That's actually something I struggle with, owing to having aphantasia, which is a lack of a visual imagination. But I work a lot more on feeling with things. We were looking at a feature with a bunch of our riders, Kookaburra Rock, on a trail called Cuddles. It was
classic.
in the Enduro World Series. It's this incredible, you've got 3 different lines down this quite steep granite boulder.
For those that are listening, this thing rivals Squamish, Whistler riding, grippy granite rock. It's how tall is it? 12 meters tall?
Yeah.
Near vertical. It's bloody unreal.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
The A-line's 12 meters and fairly vertical.
I got so excited when I seen that rock.
Yeah.
And all the rock in Derby, really.
Yeah. No, it's an incredible feature, but having that A-line is amazing. Having a B and a C line on the same trail, incredible work from the trail builders, and obviously the natural terrain lended itself to doing that. So having that C line's quite intimidating. The run-in's a little weird, and it actually dips to a horizon line where you can't see the run down. The run down is actually relatively mild, super grippy, quite wide, and I'd say it's a feature that any rider that's riding blue trails with confidence could actually run that line, no problems at all. The scary part is the horizon line. You get to a point, and right at the point where you hit a bit of a tree root and look up to see where the end, all you can see is it dropping away into the never never. And what a lot of people will do in that point is they'll look at it, they'll look at the run out, they'll look at that run down that granite slab, and they'll forget to really think about the run in and the point where they get really scared. And so what I've started doing with people is actually walking them back further, and actually getting them to walk through the run in, get to the point where they would look up at that drop off into nowhere, and understand and feel and prepare themselves for that point where they get really scared, that real pucker moment, where you that point where you want to hit the brakes, that point where you want to do all the intuitive things that aren't actually going to serve you. And I get them to actually practice that moment of terror and then release it. And if you can practice that fear and then that bit of a breathe out It's going to be okay. And if you can get through that 2 or 3 meters, you actually get to the point where you can then see down it, and then it's fine. And we've found great success with people doing that thing that they know they can achieve the thing. It's just quite scary.
Getting through that point of commitment.
Yeah.
Such an interesting one, isn't it? Because often that fear or that pucker moment, as you said, doesn't come up on the steepest part or the hardest part of the feature. It comes up just before it, just as we're about to go in. So if we can actually get comfortable with that feeling, like you say, not just visualize how it's going to look, but also feel how it's going to feel. Sit there, get a little bit more comfortable with that, and almost train ourselves to move through that moment rather than just try to block it to the side or trying to pretend it won't happen when we actually are on our bike.
Yeah, really acknowledging that point of okay, I'm going to get scared here.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's good. It means I'm challenging myself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was something I thought, it happened to me in Whistler, looking at the Moon Buddha.
Okay, yeah.
Dropping into that enormous bowl, and you're just seeing this, it looks like a 10-story building of dirt.
Yeah.
And you just go,
And you're like, I'm meant to launch up there.
I have to go up there, and I have to not brake between here and there.
Yeah.
And everything in your body is telling you just a little brake tap or something for comfort. And your thinking brain knows that that's not the right thing to do. But some part of you just wants to get on the brake. But just have that moment, practice that moment and feel that moment of fear, and then
Release.
let it release and commit in. And
and when you say release, are you exhaling out?
Yeah, that's something, and it's whatever works for people. For a lot of people, I do find a lot of people hold their breath.
Yeah.
So definitely for a lot of people, I'm finding that exhale is a big thing that helps them through. For some people, it's in their shoulders and in their neck.
Right, releasing that muscle tension.
Yeah, and trying to identify that. I'll try to identify that, or I'll try to get them to identify what it is that they're where they're holding on.
Yeah.
Get them to try to release that and feel that on the walk through.
Yeah.
And then let them have it on a bike.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. I loved watching you coach one of our riders through that process. It was so beautiful to see, and just that high five moment afterwards. It's so cool.
Oh, it's magic. I love it so much.
Fantastic. And what about for you, Mark? Have you got any kind of wide open, but on the mental side of mountain biking, is there any kind of like tools, tips, techniques, or things that work for you in your riding? I know you've progressed a lot yourself since moving here to Tassie and exploring this terrain.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, I've got a very different background. Coming from sort of motocross in my younger years, and then more into XC and adventure racing. So, I come from that more pedaling up than pedaling down kind of background. And Tassie was it was a completely different mindset. I'd bought a new bike within the first 6 months, and I was wearing different clothes and different shoes and everything that goes with that. So,
party shirt on, ready to rip, eh?
Yeah. The best riding shirts you can buy, aren't they? They're so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably from a different perspective, and I only say this because we're in Maydena and it's kind of fresh of mind, but it's really interesting when you drive into Maydena from a mindset perspective. Like, this place has a reputation, and in some ways deservedly so, but also in other ways, it doesn't deserve the reputation that it's got. Like, it's actually got some of the most diversity in the country and probably the world as well. Like, kudos to the team at this bike park. They've done a phenomenal job, but yeah, in the first couple of years, like, it was probably a little bit more focused around the steep and rowdy stuff, but you can almost pick it when you drive into Maydena. So we're coming in, whether we've come from Hobart Airport to Derby, and when you just go past the National Park Hotel and you come through this nice little rainforesty section, all the banter in the car goes from da 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 da, good time. It's just everything quietens down a little bit, and there's the next 10 minutes, everyone's really quiet. And you can feel the nerves building, and we kind of stick the right music on and try and change that a little bit because we know it's coming. It happens with every single group. And from a mindset perspective, that's because they've jumped on YouTube and they've watched all the rowdy trails and they've watched Hardline, and they build this place up to be so much. So the day one that we do with people here, which is what we're going to go and do now with you guys, is all just about building confidence on the terrain without kind of overthinking it. So we do a lot of our coaching and our pre-coaching and our guiding in Derby to understand people. And then our goal at Maydena day one here is, hey, just jump on my wheel. We're going to have some fun. And the goal is to push people sort of within their comfort zone, but every now and then just slightly beyond it. But in a perfect world scenario, I really love the fact when you ride a trail and someone looks back up and goes, I can't believe I just did that. But the thing is, they didn't even notice they were doing it because they were just trusting the wheel in front of them. They were on it and they were in. And we've had people here that, like, admittedly probably might have been a little bit out of their depth. And there's one person I remember in particular, you might know who he is. He's early 60s, comes down every year with a group, and we've been doing Derby for 4 or 5 years. And I said, boys, let's go to Maydena this year. And one of the lads in the group, the older guy, lovely guy, really capable rider, we'd done a run and a half, I think it was, and we're halfway down, we're at midline. He sort of pulled me aside and said, Mark, this is a bit much for me, mate. I'm gonna pull out after this one. And I said, give me another run, give me till lunchtime. Let's see where we get to. We're just going to keep working on this and jump on my wheel and let's have some fun. And we didn't talk too much about everything, but it was just about building his confidence for the next hour. And then by 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I remember getting to one particular junction, and it's like, I won't say his name because he might be out there, but let's call him John. It's like, John, black, blue, your choice. And he looked at me and he's like, black.
Oh, yeah.
We're dropping in. All right, jump in. We're going in. And we went and rode King Brown, which is one of my favourite trails here. She's a proper, steep, tech, flow trail. It's amazing, an absolute work of art. But that was all just about building his confidence throughout that day to get him to that point to be able to ride that trail. And not only ride it, but actually ride it confidently. And the other thing we encounter all the time when people come to Tasmania is you get this text message like 3, 4, 5 days later from someone that just went back to Northern Beaches, Sydney, or to Newcastle or to Adelaide, and they go, hey, I just did this feature on my trail that I've been looking at for 7 years and I've never ridden. And that's the big thing, coming back to your previous question about like travelling on your bike. When we ride the same network 3 times a week, we kind of talk ourselves into what we ride. So there might be a feature that you've been looking at that you go, that's not in my warehouse. And then you come down here and ride something here, whether it be Kookaburra Rock or King Brown or something at Queenstown, something at Penguin. And you go back home and it's like, oh, this is a piece of cake. I've got this. So yeah, that's the fun part of the job.
It's so special, isn't it? Not only getting to help riders here in Tassie, but that work or that effort that they've put in down here continues on when they get home.
Yeah.
And like you say, it can shed a whole new light on someone's local trail network as well.
Yeah.
And not only, I guess, like creating more diversity in someone's riding, a lot of the riders we've got here are from or living in the Northern Hemisphere like me. So we're actually expanding our riding season by coming down here and getting some extra trails in.
Yeah.
So it's a great way of, instead of having a mountain biking season, it's like, screw that, mountain bike all year round.
Yeah.
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 So really cool. I love what you were saying there too about a place kind of developing a persona. And we can, like, a lot of us had never visited Maydena before, but we knew it was steep and deep.
Yeah.
And exactly like you said, as we're driving through the valleys there, we go from enjoying the view to, oh, these hills are steep. Oh, there's big trees, there's roots everywhere. We see the rocks in the forest. It's like, oh wow, this is the real deal.
Yeah.
And the nerves can start to come up before we even get on the bike.
Yeah.
So it was really special yesterday. Obviously, like today's like day one of shuttles and bike park here in Maydena. But we actually snuck down a little bit early. We had some frothers in the group, so got out on our rest day, did a little pedal on some of the lower mountain trails, a little bit of skills tuning, and it was a really great way of calming some of those nerves and getting people fired up, getting people excited for today, rather than feeling overwhelmed by it. So really thankful to have you guys here for that and kind of creating that experience as well. It's been such a welcoming, fun vibe for the duration of the trip, rather than I'm not sure about this vibe. And I think like each one of the guys and girls in our group would say they've probably rode things this week that they didn't think they'd ride coming into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Really special. It's almost time for the bike park to open, so we'll get moving in a second. We're going to do a brake pad check, make sure everyone's good to go, make sure bikes are safe for today. But before we wrap things up, is there anything that you guys wanted to talk about on this podcast that we haven't touched on yet?
No, I think it's been great. Thanks for coming down, Jake. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like, this has been in the works for a year and a half. A lot of chats on the phone, a lot of video calls from the other side of the world. But yeah, what you do over in your neck of the woods is absolutely amazing, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, not only in the lead up, but while you're here. Great bunch of people. It's really amazing when you get 6 or 7 people from different parts of the world. And the first couple of hours, everyone's kind of finding each other and understanding, but the dynamic amongst this group is absolutely incredible, and that's your work in finding the right people and the pre-chats and getting to understand people, which has been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, come to Tassie, ride bikes, it's heaven down here, whether that be with us, whether that be with someone else, like just get down there and ride bikes. It's a pretty special part of the world, which is why you're sitting here with a Queenslander and a New South Welshman.
And a Victorian.
And our race family here, and yeah, like it's just a really cool part of the world. But and a Victorian, yeah, you're right, yeah, it's an amazing place down here, so come and get amongst it.
Oh, thank you, mate, for the kind words. Like I say, it's been a pleasure working with you, both of you guys, from the start as well. And yeah, we first got talking 1.5 years ago, so this has been a dream for us in the making for a while now. It feels so fucking cool to be sitting here having made it happen. Yeah. We're just lapping it up the last couple of days of Bike Park here. But yeah, right from the moment we got on that first Zoom call, I was like, right, these are my guys. They're going to help me make this dream happen. And it's been like that at every step along the way. Really, like, it's been, I guess, no compromises for me. Everything that I've wanted for this trip, you've been like, yeah, let's make it happen. And adjustments along the way, different trails, different things. I feel like it's been this shared vision, and it's so fucking cool working with you guys.
Yeah, that's something we really push hard for. We're mountain bikers at heart. We're mountain bikers every day of the week, and that's the beautiful part of what we do is we just put together exactly the tour that we would want to be on, and so that in a way makes it the easiest job in the world.
Yeah,
it's like, what would I want now? I'd want to ride a trail like this, and then what would I want after that? A beer and a really good meal. Okay, we can organise. So we just organise that. We just organise what we would want.
Yeah,
and we're pretty mountain bikers. We're pretty simple folk generally. And yeah, we just put the time into finding the best stuff. Yeah, we find the best houses, the best meals. We know the spots that are not so good. There's a few out there. And we just put the time into finding the stuff that's great, the trails that are great. It's arduous research, checking out trails and beers and restaurants and that sort of thing. But we've got a strong research and development team that that work tirelessly to keep making sure that it's the levels kept high. And we just love saying yes if people want to do something that's a little, even if it's a little bit off the cuff. We've got a crew that comes down every year. They do a golf day in the middle of their mountain bike tour. We're often taking people and for little detours to visit, whether it's wineries or distilleries or go wakeboarding or all those sorts of things. They're all on offer. They're all on the cards. So and then any sort of mountain bike adventure. If people want to do big pedal days, we can do it. Private shuttle days are obviously our bread and butter, but whatever it is, we just want to make it happen.
That's it, hey. We had one of our guys rent an e-bike. We won't name names because we don't want to call him out as being an e-biker. But it's kind of, you make things happen, right? He was sick of pedaling, so we got him on an e-bike for the day, and he was much happier. It's been awesome, and I think that's the really cool thing about this trip that we've put together is we're riding with people that we'd ride with anyway. We not only opened up 10 spots and just let anyone book on. We curated those people and we picked the right people. Not only are they all at a similar skill level with similar goals, they've got a similar vibe as well. And I think that's the special thing. We've got people of vastly different ages, living in different countries, different mountain biking experiences, different genders, and they're all best friends now. And it's so cool, isn't it, when we can sit and chat in front of the bus and the crew's just there on one, laughing and chatting in the back. It's really special.
Yeah, it's unreal. We see that a lot, whether it's with our shared tours where it's you're just buying one seat on the bus, or our group packages where it is a group of mates who have been riding together and have all booked together to book a private tour. Just that camaraderie over the time, learning from each other and learning from each other's skills and just spending that amount of time, the volume on the bike and the volume of time together. It's really special. It grows some incredible friendships and it's and some wild times.
Totally, and it's been great for me as a coach too, working with two other expert coaches. I know I've learned things from each of you on this trip things you're saying to our riders, our guests on the trip. And I'm like, hey, I might try that myself. It's so cool, kind of, trading tools and inspiring each other.
Yeah, it's gone both ways, I can assure you. My mental notepad's been working overtime. It's been awesome. So thanks for that.
Fantastic, mate. I love it. For anyone listening to this that wants to check out the Tasmanian Mountain Bike Expedition, we're going to be hitting the ground running for 2026.
Yeah.
It's going to be very late October into early November next year. Going to get this Hero Dirt Sunshine again. For anyone interested in checking out that, there'll be a link down in the show notes. And applications will likely be open by the time we release this podcast. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you if you're interested. We'd love to tell you all about it. With that being said, let's go hit the trails, guys. Thanks so much.
Let's do it. Thanks, Adrian.
Nice one, mate.
Cheers, guys.
See you next year.